Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Tonight we have something truly fascinating lined up for you. Tonight we're diving deep into the surprisingly dark and twisty history of Black Friday. You might think it's all about shopping deals and retail madness, but there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. Yeah, you heard that right. Black Friday. The term itself has a history that's as complex as it is intriguing. It's not just about elbowing your way through crowds for a discounted flat-screen TV. The origins of Black Friday are steeped in financial chaos and human drama. Oh no, my friends, it goes way deeper than that. We're talking about a story that involves greed, corruption, and a financial disaster of epic proportions. You see, the story of Black Friday doesn't start with some marketing genius in a boardroom. It has roots that go back much further. It actually begins in 1869. Yes, you heard that correctly, 1869. Now I know what you're thinking, John, 1869, that's like ancient history. And you'd be right, but trust me, this story is anything but boring. It was a different time. A time when horse-drawn carriages were the norm and the financial world was a wild, untamed beast. We're talking horse-drawn carriages, top hats, and a financial system that was about as stable as a drunken giraffe on roller skates. It was a chaotic and unpredictable era. But hold on, because this is where things get juicy. The events that unfolded were nothing short of dramatic. Imagine a financial crash so bad, so utterly catastrophic, that it makes the 2008 crisis look like a minor blip on the radar. This was a financial meltdown of epic proportions. That's what happened in 1869. The financial world was turned upside down. This wasn't just some random market hiccup. It was a full-scale financial disaster that left a lasting impact. This was a full-blown economic earthquake that sent shockwaves across America. The repercussions were felt far and wide. And at the heart of this financial fiasco were two men who make Bernie Madoff look like an amateur. These were the masterminds behind the chaos. Let's meet our villains, shall we? Jay Gould and James Fisk, two of the most notorious figures in financial history. Their actions would set the stage for one of the most infamous days in American economic history. Now folks, let's talk about Jay Gould and James Fisk. These two names are synonymous with some of the most audacious financial schemes in American history. These two were the Gordon Geckos of their time. They were the embodiment of Wall Street's cutthroat nature, long before the term corporate raider was even coined. Slick, ruthless, and with more money-making schemes than you could shake a stick at. They were always on the lookout for the next big score, the next opportunity to outsmart their competitors and make a fortune. They were like the dynamic duo of financial villainy. Their partnership was built on a shared vision of exploiting the system for their own gain, and they were incredibly good at it. Except, without the cool costumes or the catchy theme music. Instead, they had sharp suits, sharper minds, and a willingness to do whatever it took to come out on top. Jay Gould, the brains of the operation, was a master manipulator of the stock market. He had an uncanny ability to predict market movements and capitalize on them. Imagine a guy who could smell a profitable opportunity from a mile away and wasn't afraid to bend the rules or completely obliterate them to get what he wanted. Gould was a financial genius, albeit one with a questionable moral compass. Then there was James Fisk, the brawn to Gould's brains. Fisk was the public face of their operations, charming and flamboyant, always ready to put on a show. He was a flamboyant character, known for his lavish parties and his, shall we say, creative approach to business ethics. Fisk loved the limelight and used his charisma to win over allies and disarm opponents. Together, they were a force to be reckoned with. Their combined talents made them nearly unstoppable in the world of finance. Their grand plan: corner the gold market. This was no small feat. It required meticulous planning, insider knowledge, and a lot of nerve. That's right, these two decided they were going to control the supply of gold in America. Because why not, right? If they could pull it off, they would have unprecedented power over the economy. Their logic was simple: control the gold, control the economy. It was a bold move, one that required them to manipulate not just the market, but also key political figures. And for a while, it seemed like they were going to pull it off. Their scheme caused a frenzy in the markets, and for a brief moment, it looked like they might actually succeed in their audacious plan. Now buckle up, kids, because this is where things get really wild. We're about to dive into one of the most chaotic days in financial history. It's September 24th, 1869, a day that started like any other but would end in absolute mayhem. The day that would forever be known as Black Friday, not the shopping frenzy we know today, but a day of financial disaster. Gould and Fisk, two of the most notorious financiers of the time, had been steadily buying up gold, driving the price sky high. They were playing a dangerous game, manipulating the market for their own gain. They even got their hooks into President Grant's brother-in-law, using him to try and influence the president himself. It was a web of deceit and manipulation. The tension in the air was thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. Everyone in the financial world was on edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Everyone knew something big was about to go down. The anticipation was palpable, like the calm before a storm. And then, it hit. The gold market went absolutely haywire. Prices skyrocketed and plummeted within moments, creating a whirlwind of chaos. Prices were fluctuating like a heart rate monitor during a roller coaster ride. It was a financial roller coaster that no one could get off. Fortunes were won and lost in the blink of an eye. Some people made a killing, while others were left in financial ruin. It was absolute pandemonium. People were panicking, selling off their gold at any price they could get. The trading floor was a madhouse. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the US government stepped in. They had to do something to stop the madness. They flooded the market with government gold, causing the price to plummet faster than a piano falling from a skyscraper. It was a drastic measure, but it worked. Gould and Fisk, those sneaky devils, saw the writing on the wall and managed to sell off most of their gold before the crash, making a killing. They walked away with their pockets full, leaving chaos in their wake. So what happened next? Well, let's just say Black Friday 1869 left a mark. Businesses went bankrupt. The stock market crashed harder than a teenager learning to drive stick shift. And ordinary Americans lost their life savings. It was an economic disaster of epic proportions. The fallout from Gould and Fisk's little scheme was swift and brutal. It took years for the American economy to recover, and Black Friday became synonymous with financial ruin and despair. But this is where the story takes an unexpected turn. You see, the term Black Friday didn't disappear into the annals of history. Instead, it re-emerged in the 1950s with a whole new meaning. And no, it still wasn't about amazing deals on toasters. Section 5, From Finance to Foot Traffic, Black Friday in the 1950s. Fast forward a few decades, we're now in the 1950s. World War II is over, America's economy is booming and people are feeling pretty good, but there's one city that dreads the day after Thanksgiving: Philadelphia. You see, every year, hordes of shoppers and tourists would descend upon Philadelphia for the annual Army-Navy football game held on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And let me tell you, it was absolute mayhem. We're talking massive traffic jams, overcrowded sidewalks, shoplifting galore, and let's not forget the good old-fashioned public intoxication. It was enough to make even the most patient person lose their sanity. Section 6, Philadelphia's Black Friday, a police nightmare. For the Philadelphia Police Department, the day after Thanksgiving was a logistical nightmare. They were completely overwhelmed by the sheer volume of people and the chaos they brought with them. Imagine trying to direct traffic while thousands of shoppers are jaywalking, fighting over parking spaces, and generally making life difficult for everyone involved. It was enough to give any cop a migraine. So, naturally, they started calling it Black Friday. It was their way of describing the day they dreaded the most, a day of utter chaos and mayhem. Section 7, Rebranding Black Friday, From Disaster to Deals. Now, here's where things take another unexpected turn. Despite its negative connotations, the term Black Friday started to catch on. Retailers, those crafty devils, saw an opportunity. They knew they couldn't erase the term's association with chaos, so they decided to do the next best thing: rebrand it. And how do you rebrand something as chaotic as Black Friday? Simple. You offer deals so good, so incredibly tempting that people can't resist. Slowly but surely, Black Friday transformed from a dreaded day of chaos to the biggest shopping day of the year. Retailers started offering massive discounts and promoting Black Friday sales earlier and earlier. Section 8, Black Friday Today, a retail juggernaut. And the rest, as they say, is history. Black Friday went from a day of financial ruin to a retail frenzy, and it spread like wildfire. It's now a global phenomenon, with shoppers around the world camping out in front of stores, or, refreshing their browsers frantically, all in the name of snagging a deal. It's become so big that it's practically its own holiday now. We've got Black Friday sales, Black Friday deals, and even Black Friday memes. It's inescapable. Section 9, Conclusion: From Financial Ruin to Shopping Frenzy. So there you have it, folks. The surprisingly dark and twisty tale of Black Friday. From a day of financial panic and economic disaster to the biggest shopping day of the year. It's a story of greed, manipulation, and the power of a good rebrand. Who would have thought that a day that began with two robber barons trying to corner the gold market would eventually become synonymous with discounted TVs and rampant consumerism? It's enough to make you wonder what other historical events are hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be rebranded and repackaged for our modern sensibilities. That's our show for tonight. We'll be right back after these messages.